so I thought I would come on and make a more current video. So welcome to my channel, and just to let you know, my daughter actually said to me the other day, she's like, Mom, you're so trying hard to be relevant or stay relevant. And I was like, if that was true, honey, I'd be over on TikTok doing some dances, and I don't do TikTok. So the whole reason I started this channel was because I was trying to bring awareness to gastroparesis, which is a rare disease, how easy it is to be misdiagnosed by doctors and not be seen, heard, and believed, which can cause unnecessary PTSD, can mess with your mental health. So that was kind of why I started this channel, and it was videos over the years. So not many of them are that current. So this is actually today, April 9, 2024. I'm actually waiting to go in a doctor's appointment. So I thought, let me just make a quick video. And so we are hearing more and more about gastroparesis, it seems, because people are taking weight loss drugs. And I'm not going to say a lot on that because everybody has to do what's right for them. But for me, after suffering for over 8 years with this disease and not knowing why I have it, I find it strange to take something that is actually going to mimic gastroparesis, because basically what you're doing is you're slowing your stomach down and starving to lose weight, which, as I explained, I don't know if you can tell from my videos, you can see by the hair color it's a different year, and if you read the description I will say what year I made the video in. So I've fluctuated in weight. I've weighed way more than this. I've weighed way less than this. This is my standard weight right now, and this is not a normal weight for my age, but it is what it is. So anyway, I came on to actually say recently I've been making videos or showing videos in which my mother was dying of Alzheimer's disease. And so I don't have as many videos about my father, and my father died from Lewy body dementia, so I lost both my parents in 3 years. It's a very difficult thing. If you've ever lost a parent, it's not easy. And then to lose them at the same time, dealing with that, I just also was trying to just show what it was like ins and out. I have some more videos. I'm not sure if I want to post them. I'm like, what if somebody finds me in real life that knows me? But I'm like, if my channel can help one person, whether you're dealing with GI issues, digestive issues, mental health, I like to post about makeup if you like that for fun. If it helps with coping with somebody you love that has Alzheimer's or brain disease, then great. What I won't stand for is I've gotten some really weird and cruel comments, sexual comments that won't be tolerated on my channel. So if you feel like you want to do that, you can leave my channel now. So anyway, the whole reason I was just making this most recent video is just to kind of explain, I'm a big believer everything happens for a reason. I don't know why my parents both came down with brain diseases, but I will say it was kind of expected with my mother because her mother had passed away from Alzheimer's. And the eerie thing is my mother died almost 10 years to the day that my grandmother did, in the same hospital on the same floor from the same disease complications of it. Now my father was a little concerned about, seeing my mother in that condition because they had been married about 50 years at this point. And he's like, what are we going to do? And I was like, we're going to handle it as a family. We'll figure this out, Dad. Like, don't worry. And he just didn't want to see her in that manner. And it's almost like, I don't know if things happen for reasons we don't quite understand, but then my dad suddenly started falling all the time, found out he had prostate cancer. Then we couldn't do any treatments because they had left a fistula in him from surgery years ago. So that was like a little bit of a setback. So all of a sudden when he started falling, the doctor's like, yeah, I need to take you in a private room. And he's like, your dad has Lewy body dementia. And I remember just thinking, what the hell is that? And if you've ever heard of it, you mainly probably heard of it because Robin Williams suffered greatly from it. I've always said that I do believe, so my opinion is Robin Williams was suffering, and I don't think he wanted to live like that. And I do think maybe my dad may have made the same decision if he could use his hands, but my dad's hands were contracted in like this. I watched my dad go through a lot of nursing home abuse because my mother was taken care of out of the house with AIDS. My father was too rich according to the guidelines of what they accept at Costa, the county for aging, and so therefore he had to go to a nursing home. So anyway, so when they told me he had Lewy body, I'm just like, based on what? And they're like, well, he's talking about like aliens are coming back to get him on this ship. And I'm like, well, he hit his head really hard. So I'll admit I was in denial for the first year or so. And then as my dad declined, he never forgot us. It wasn't so much the memory. It was the agitation, the anger. He just turned into somebody I didn't recognize, and he would like scream things at us, and I would always be like, it's not my dad. What I learned with these two diseases is that you don't fight them. You go along with everything. So like one time I went to see my dad, and like he was like, oh my gosh, you brought Angelina Jolie's baby. And I was like, oh my, yeah, I did. Just with that, I was like, isn't she beautiful, Dad? And he was like, yeah. And then there was one time where my dad did realize that there was something wrong with his brain. He had these clear moments and broke down like a child. He was crying, and it was so sad. You switch roles. It's like your parents take care of you, and if you're lucky and blessed, you live long enough to give them back the same care and love that they gave you. And that's how I look at it. That's my silver lining. And my parents didn't see each other suffer. So I remember hugging my dad, and I'm like, you're never going to forget us. I'm never going to let that happen. Never. And my dad never did. He never forgot us. Not even up till the end, in which, I knew my mom was going to pass, and I showed a video, but I didn't show us talking because it's too private. I don't want to share that with the world. But I did share how I broke down, because I think I always tried to be so strong. And I would tell myself, I just have to go, go, go. I shared power of attorney on both my parents, and I learned the hard way, you should each pick your own parent. It's just easier, because then you have to agree and sign off on everything. And at the end of my mom's life, I'm not going to lie, I fought the doctors really hard. I fought with palliative care, and I kept saying, I understand that my mother isn't going to get any better, even if you can get her back from, she was declining, and she actually went into shock because this one hospital took her off all her medication, which luckily my girlfriend figured out, and then we got her stabilized because I thought she was going to die. But I kept saying, my brain knows logically, like, this isn't going to get better, and she's not going to bounce back and be like, remembering things. But my heart's like, this is my mother, and I'm not ready to let her go. So when it finally was her time, they told us she was going to die in 5 hours, and my mom hung on 5 days. When it came to my dad, this will always haunt me, and I've learned I had to make peace with it, especially after I got the reading from Tyler Henry. So if you look back on my channel, I got a reading from Tyler Henry out of an audience. He said things that nobody could have possibly known. I felt this electricity when it happened, so I know I was connecting with my parents. But with my father, who's being neglected in a nursing home, and it's kind of sad. You live long enough, and you make a decent amount of money, and you have this savings, and then you get sick, and you have to go into these nursing homes where if you're not super, super rich, you just don't get the right care, unfortunately. And that's what happened to my dad. I documented it. I think that's why I don't have very many videos with my father, because I was so busy getting upset with the lack of care he was getting and documenting everything and taking photos. Like, they weren't feeding him. They would say, oh, it's taking too long. And then they would say, well, here's his drink. And I'm like, well, his hands are contracted, and how the hell is he drinking his own drink? And then one time he had a wound on his back behind. They were saying they were rotating him, but then nobody was signing off on it. Then he had a sore on his foot, and I visited 3 days in a row, and the bandage wasn't changed. I had the same date. It's really sad what happens in nursing homes. So that's why my mom was like, please don't ever put me into a nursing home. That was the one thing I feel at peace that I could give her. So I moved my dad out of a nursing home. He looked dead, and the doctor's like, you just saved him. He was days from death. They said his kidneys were going to shut down. My dad was diabetic. So then I moved him to this other nursing home after he got straightened out in the hospital. And I'll never forget, like, when he came in, this doctor was like, oh, is this his baseline? And I'm like, no, not really. He's been abused in a nursing home. So once we got him straightened out, and I'm going to say this, Medicare's a thing, and, like, they do rush you out. So, like, you're in, you're out, you're in, you're out. They don't want you longer than they want you there. And that's just the way it goes. So I feel like my dad was rushed out a little too soon. So he went to a new nursing home. And then this doesn't make any sense to me, but they moved him on a weekend. And, there's no doctors there, so why would he go on a weekend? But I'm really sad I missed this. So the day before my dad passed away, he was moved on a Friday night. And then on Saturday, my sister saw him, and she said it was, like, she showed me photos. It was like my dad, like, he didn't look sick or anything. He was like watching basketball. He was so happy. And you know, they say you perk up before you're gonna pass. So I went to see my dad the day after that, and they asked me if I wanted to feed him, so I went to feed my dad, and all of a sudden his eyes got really big, and he just started, all this phlegm just starts coming out, and he's making these sounds, and I'm like, oh my God, he's choking. And luckily my daughter wasn't there to see it, because she had stayed back in his room. She doesn't like to be out in large groups of people. So I just was like, oh my God, he's choking. And they're like, do you want us, like, after we got him settled down, as if nothing happened, my dad was like, hey, I want to go to Pizza Hut. That's like his favorite, that was his favorite restaurant back then. And he's like, I want to see my babe. And that was my mom. And I was like, all right, Dad, I'm going to bring her tomorrow and we'll get you Pizza Hut. So they were like, do you want to go to the hospital? And I said, yeah. This is always going to bother me. I got the same damn doctor as the last time. And he goes, this guy again. This guy? This guy's my dad. This is my dad. So, you know, I got to be honest, this guy was quick to get my dad in and out. So I was with my dad. And the last photo I have on my phone is my dad's hand. And it is so swollen. Sorry, I get really emotional because I just feel like, I don't know if it could have saved him or anything, but I showed his hand. It was so swollen, which told me there was water retention, which meant it wasn't getting to his heart, or something wasn't pumping right. So the nurse is like, oh, we'll look into it, whatever. Nobody ever called me to say, can we send him back? I don't know if that's standard. I thought they were supposed to run it by you as a power of attorney. So meanwhile, they sent him back to the nursing home late at night. After I'd already left, I'd take my daughter home because she was in school and had homework. And I just remember feeling guilty, thinking, oh my God, I made my dad choke. I was really upset. And then I would always leave my phone on so I wouldn't miss any phone calls. And I don't know why on this night, I slept through 15 missed phone calls and woke up and they were like, your dad is... I just knew when I called back, I heard her voice. She goes, I don't know how to tell you this. And I just knew my dad was gone. And, you know, they said that they checked on him. He said he was fine. They went back around like 40 minutes later and he was gone. And I just remember, I mean, part of me feels a little bit bad, but you know, you're in shock. But I called the hospital where my dad was last seen and I was screaming and I was like, you killed my dad. I was like, why did you send him back? I was like, I said that his hand didn't look right. I don't know. I kind of blacked out and I don't remember everything else. But I just remember feeling like I didn't do right by my dad and I failed him. You know, that's how I felt in the moment. But what I took away from, just to give you the background of all that, is that the silver lining was they didn't watch each other suffer. They didn't see each other be sick because they couldn't quite comprehend that. My dad, till the day he died, was like, is your mother okay? Are the bills paid? That's love. Because my dad was in a nursing home with no control over his life, dying from a brain disease, but worried if his wife was okay back home. So I'm sorry, this turned into like 13-minute video almost, but my parents were everything to me, and I feel incredibly blessed that I was able to do what I did for them. And it wasn't easy. You know, my mom, I wouldn't say complete abuse, but I have some other videos. I don't know if I'm going to post them or not because I'm really angry in a lot of these videos where she was just not getting the right care, and I had cameras in the house and the aides were lying like that didn't happen. I'm like, I'm looking right at you on the camera. It's just sad. You got to fight so hard and be your own best advocate or someone else's. Even for myself, I just found out that after 10 years I was misdiagnosed with a disease I never had and put on all kinds of medications that cost so much money, made me really sick. And I kept telling the doctors, like, I don't think this is right. And they're like, but the tests say. Tests can be wrong, or you know what I mean, like doctors can't know everything. But I will say that I highly respect doctors and nurses. After everything I've been through, and I've been sick off and on for like 15 years, I always thank all my doctors and nurses for their time. Yes, this is their job, but everybody's time is precious. So anytime anybody in life gives me time for something, I always thank them, because that's time you're never ever going to get back. So anytime I tell people, like, if I give you my time, that means you matter to me, because you don't get back when you give it away. You know, what's done is done. You're never getting that moment back. So anyway, I'm just going to say again, thank you so much for the people who are watching the videos for the right reasons. There are some people obviously who are on here for all the wrong reasons. But I appreciate you just listening and watching these videos. And if you can take away anything, if it can help anybody, I sure hope it's just by helping one person. I feel like I'm contributing in some way. So again, this channel is mainly just something I put together. It's random videos over the years. Today's a current one. Just letting people in on a little bit of what my life has been like. So sorry, I keep looking around. There's people everywhere. There's bees and wasps out today because it's a beautiful day, and I'm like, I'm allergic to bees and wasps. I'm afraid to get out of the car. But that's it. So this is not, I might not always update on here, and sometimes my videos mean like nothing. I'm not like other people that come up with clever, witty things that are just so hilarious. Like, I'm just being me, and I like who I am. I mean, I love who I am, and I always say this, people make fun of me, but I don't care. I love the Macarena. Every time I go somewhere, I went to Vegas for my 40th birthday. We played it at the pool. I played at every wedding. Like, I don't care. It's a god-awful song to everybody else in the world, but I love it. And that's what I mean, like, being true to yourself. And that's something, if you're spiritual and you're into like Tyler Henry, Teresa Caputo, you know, Tyler says you be your most true, authentic self. And that's all I'm doing on this channel. So thank you for your time. Thank you for watching this, and welcome to this channel that I'm going to create content here and there. But it's just hopefully going to help somebody out there and lift their spirits and get them through hard times. Bye. Have a great day.